I'm just trying to touch a milli, I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama, we get busy. Plug, pull up with the pack, and I ain't even bust it down. Couple minutes on my phone, I promise I'm gon' get it gone. I stay solid, I get caught, I'm fighting till they sit me down. You get caught, you singing like a nigga in the studio. Brody sold the whip for 1,000, cause we just slid in it. I really make a house call, fuck if your kids in it. Been through some shit, that's why my heart too froze. You ain't living what you rapping in a studio. You get your noodle blown, fucking with the opposition. My brother making decisions on anybody that's dissing. With the quickness, I'ma make a decision, I'm on a mission. You tripping, thinking we missing, I'm shooting up with precision. Red beam on the barrel to give myself some assistance. My brother come through like sniper, he knock you off from a distance. Big foe with no foe, I'm balling just like a piston. We get the... Damn, heard it's another man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot in some titties, I ain't with the drama. I'm just trying to touch a milli, I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. It's another man down in my city, Brody Chopper got a red dot in some titties, I ain't with the drama. I'm just trying to touch a milli, I'm a addy dropper. Cause on my mama we get busy. Plug, pull up with the pack, and I ain't even bust it down. Couple minutes on my phone, I promise I'm gon' get it gone. I stay solid, I get caught, I'm fighting till they sit me down. You get caught, you singing like a nigga in the studio. Brody sold the whip for 1,000, cause we just slid in it. I really make a house call, fuck if your kids in it. Been through some shit, that's why my heart too froze. You ain't living what you rapping in a studio. You get your noodle blown, fucking with the opposition. My brother making decisions on anybody that's dissing. With the quickness, I'ma make a decision, I'm on a mission. You tripping, thinking we missing, I'm shooting up with precision. Red beam on the barrel to give myself some assistance. My brother come through like sniper, he knock you off from a distance. Big foe with no foe, I'm balling just like a piston.
This is the El Nino Podcast. I'm Eladio Nino, and this is Real Everyday People. So thank you for everybody always tapping in, sharing, subscribing, all the support. I appreciate it. Much love to you guys. This weekend was great for me and my wife. Life is just bittersweet, and rest in peace to my brother, Jimmy Rosario. My man Cut. I've been knowing him, got a lot of history with the brother. We were in the joint together. That's where he started cutting my hair. I had, suggested that maybe he could start a career for himself when he got home and cut some hair and make some good money, and he did, and he became a very close friend of mine. We lost him. And, he was one of the good ones, man. It really, that really hit home for me and for the community because there's a lot of people that love him. So, we're just going to do our part in, supporting his family and supporting his kids. And, we got to do better, man, because it's sad. It's so sad and unfortunate to see so many good people passing away for, just multiple reasons, you know what I'm saying? But, also this weekend I celebrated my 3rd-year anniversary with my wife. We went to Hocking Hills, Ohio, had a great time. We became one with nature. We went to the caves out there, and it's just a wonderful experience. It's just an experience that's priceless, So, if you haven't been, and I would suggest that, if you get a couple of dollars, you got a little extra time, go to Hocking Hills, Ohio, man, and check it out. But today, man, we got a special guest here, man. She's a good friend of mine. She's actually, my boss at work. She's a director of the CVI department. For those that don't know, CVI means Community Violence Intervention. But I love having her here. I appreciate her, taking her time to come here. And we got Tonya Medlock, also known as Coko Butterfly.
Hey.
What up, though? What's going on with you, Coko?
Hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm just want to start off by saying I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Just real quick context. So I started last year at Detroit Hispanic Development Corporation. And me and Ladio basically had to figure it out, right? We had our ups and downs, and once everything got right, it got right. But I just want to tell y'all, this is a good brother. I love you.
Thank you so much. And the love is mutual for sure.
And I want to say this because, I had times where I would get frustrated. I was like, I'm going to do this. But I realized once we could get through the smoke, I figured we was going to be an awesome duo, and we're awesoming.
Yes,
so I just want to tell you thank you so much because you've been a great, great, great lieutenant. You've been a great coordinator, and I am just so thankful for you.
Thank you so much.
And outside of work, we're a hoop, but we running a program. So thank you, Eladio. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm excited to have you. Just in the time that I've known you, you shared so many stories of yourself. I'm like, shit, we could have did a whole episode right here, right now.
I was told I need to write a book.
Ain't no doubt about it. Definitely. You have a very interesting life, you know what I'm saying? So why don't we let the people know a little bit about you, you know, a little bit past, present, future, the good, the bad, the ugly, you know?
Okay. So my name is Tonya Medlock. I was born Tonya Hurt. My mom and dad are from Jackson, Tennessee. They moved up here in 1969. My dad came up because of the plants, and my mom and dad, they settled in Pontiac, right? And so I have four siblings. Well, I have five siblings. One stays in Tennessee. Shout out to my sister Angela.
What up, sis?
Hey, what up, though? And my other three siblings, we all grew up in the house together. Very close-knit family. My parents are from the South, so I did have a kind of strict upbringing. Pretty sheltered, but at the same time, I'm grateful for that because it kind of shaped who I am, right? So,
values,
yes.
Morality,
Yes.
Standards,
Yes.
Accountability, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm a child of the 70s. I'm a child when corporal punishment was still in schools. I'm a child when my neighbor could tell me to sit my ass down or pop my ass. And if I went home and told my mama she popped me because I was acting a fool, she was going to beat my ass too. So that's where I come from. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
You know, and I think that was a good part of my childhood. And one of the great parts of my childhood is I spent my summers in Jackson, Tennessee, where my mom and dad were from.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think my parents want to get rid of us and have some free babysitters every year. I mean, but no. So when I would go down there, and I'm from Pontiac, Michigan, right?
Yeah.
So when I would
Shout
go
out to Yaktown,
baby,
and all my people
City
out there. Much love to y'all, man.
Yes. So when you go down south and you from up north, it's a whole culture shock. It's ma'am, sir. If my auntie call me, I don't say what. I say, ma'am.
Yeah.
And I think my brother and my sisters, us going down there, that was probably one of the best shapings of my life because it taught me respect. And let me be real clear. My parents were no slouches. John and Liz did not play. They spared the rod and spoiled the child and all that. But at the same time, my upbringing was great. I would say probably up until I was in high school.
That's when you think you know it all. You grown as hell. Once you hit high school, you get past middle school, they can't tell you shit after that.
Well, I'm going to tell y'all why I got rocky. So when I was in junior high, well, let me go back a little bit. One of the things that I do as well is I'm a singer. My stage name is Coko Butterfly. And so I started singing when I was in church. And when I was growing up, we didn't have a youth choir. So when I told my mom I wanted to sing, my mom said, okay, I'll take you to choir rehearsal. So I sung with adults. The best thing my mom ever did. Shout out to Liz for being frugal because my parents felt like if you want to sing, this is what we're going to have you do.
Okay.
That taught me how to be around people, how to act. I remember the mayor of Pontiac, rest in peace, Willie Payne. He ended up becoming the mayor. He used to sit next to me in the choir.
Wow.
And I remember he heard me sing one time and we were singing Rock of Ages. And I was like, I hear archangels rocking Jerusalem. Come on, Mary, ring at them bells. And so he was like, shit. He looked at me and he told our choir director, like, this little girl can sing. So I started singing. So my joy in all of life was going to choir rehearsal and singing, right? And then when I got to junior high, I took up instrumental music. So I'm also like a classical clarinetist as well as a singer.
Okay.
But let me tell y'all something about people that are struggling. My parents was like, dig this. You gonna either play an instrument or you gonna sing. But we like pick a struggle. So I ended up having to do the band thing because they bought me an instrument and I excelled at it. But the singing was really, really cool. So when I got to high school, I got to see a marching band. So when I saw the marching band in my town, I wanted to be a part of it. So I got in band and I started playing. And I was great. I loved it, enjoyed it. But unfortunately, I met this guy.
That's where it all began.
That's where it all began.
You met this guy.
My baby daddy, y'all.
My baby daddy.
I almost want you to do a close-up on my face. But I was young. I never felt nothing like that before. I was like, oh my God, I really like this guy. And I got pregnant. I was 15. So that just changed everything. And at that time, my goal was to be a music major, to go to this place called Interlochen. That's what I wanted to do. And that just derailed everything. So I had to change my plans.
And you know what, though? The fact that you changed your plans and readjusted your life to accommodate your family, your child, your growth, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of people who don't do that. They have children and they continue living, you know, the same type of lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
I was 15 and my parents, once again, and I have to keep, and I always reiterate this, my mom and dad are baby boomers and they're from the South. I come from, I couldn't say lie. Couldn't say damn. Couldn't say dang. Sound too much like damn. You feel me? Couldn't say but. You might as well say ass. That's how I grew up. So it was terrible because it's a blessing and a curse, Eladio, because my parents, they created this space where I was scared to talk to them. So in being scared to talk to my mom and dad, y'all, I was 6 months pregnant. My mama kept saying, Tonya, you just won't stop eating. I was thinking to myself, Liz don't have no. And my mom literally had to take me to the doctor. Yeah, that wasn't a good day. Because I was scared, but it was because I had the fear instilled in me. And let me tell y'all something, parents. Please talk to your children, because when they're scared, when y'all see those stories of those babies in trash cans, when y'all see those stories of people doing shit to their kids, a lot of it's because these people don't know who or how to talk to people. And Ladio, I ask myself all the time, had I not said to my parents, I'm pregnant, would I have been one of those trash can kids? Would I have had my baby?
Yeah.
How would that have gone down?
Yeah.
So please, 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 y'all, talk to your kids. Understand that we're not all perfect. And a lot of us, we do stuff and just don't get caught. But that situation changed my life drastically. Because it changed my family dynamic.
It's just a lot of parents want to instill fear in their kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, they feel like that's how they control them, is by fear. You know, eventually, you know, that's going to do a disservice to your kids. It's really going to backfire because, like you said, if I'm afraid of you, that means I can't share with you what I got going on in fear of getting in trouble.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When really we should really teaching our kids how to trust us, how to rely on us, how to feel comfortable with talking to us about anything, whether we're going to like it or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, because like you said, that's when a lot of things happen. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to trust, who to turn to, who to talk to. And then they internally, you know, start to become very destructive and then, you know, do things like that, you know.
I had a healthy fear. What I thought at the time was a healthy fear of my parents. Meaning that I respected them. But when your parents tell you if you ever get pregnant, you got to get out or I'm going to do this to you. You know, or I remember when my sister went to my mom and said, Mom, I want birth control. My mom got it for her, and my dad found him, and it was a big deal, right? So how can I come to y'all and say I'm pregnant? And then, y'all, here's the gag. This is not a funny story, but it is now because I can laugh at it. So the day I found out I was pregnant, my mama was in the doctor. I thought she was going to faint. She just sat there like this. My doctor... rest in peace, Dr. Johnson, because I loved you and you was such a good doctor. He told my mom, go home and marinate on it. I figured my mama wasn't going to say nothing to my dad until she marinated on it.
She went straight home to it?
Y'all, my mama couldn't hold a glass of damn water. So I went to choir rehearsal because I figured, and this is my logic, y'all, with the Lord I shall be safe. So I said, okay, my sister and me, we went to choir rehearsal. I'm in there singing for the Lord. Y'all, my daddy showed up. My daddy had been down to the bar drinking. It just didn't go
Yeah,
good.
some holy water, huh?
Yeah. It ended up with me calling the police on my parents.
Damn. Wow.
Cause
How did it get to that point? Shit.
my
that's deep.
dad was mad at me because I was pregnant, and he was mad at my sister because she knew. I told my sister because I told my sister if something happened, I think I'm pregnant. And my best friends knew, right? So I told my friend Sandy, like, hey, I can't talk to Liz and John because I don't know what's gonna happen. She was like, girl, just, you know. And when we found out, my dad came up to the church and literally took me out in the parking lot and just started, like, you know, slapping me up. My sister got a couple of slaps. You ever see? I saw
Your
like
sister got a couple slaps.
You ever see when the kid?
Oh, that was from some other shit she had.
No, but he was mad because she didn't say. It's a movie called The Slap. This couple be slapping kids in the backyard. That's what that shit looked like. But my dad was just so enraged and angry because I was his baby. I was a daddy's girl. And I got pregnant. And it just destroyed my dad. And my dad forgave me the next day. He sent me roses at school and apologized. But it was just the fact that at that moment, everything that I thought, Eladio, it happened. Mm-hmm. They did what I thought they were going to do. I was surprised I was alive. And I say this because, once again, I have Southern parents that threatened us. I have 3 sisters, 2 that I lived with and I grew up with. And even, I think, a year after I got pregnant, my sister in Tennessee got pregnant. So the flip side of that, well, I'm going to stay on me and my dad had a rough patch from the time I had my daughter and probably to the time I left their home. It was rough.
How old were you when you left home?
19.
Okay. All
Child, Liz and John told me if you go down to the club or street and get pregnant again, you got to go. And child.
So how was your relationship with your sisters growing up?
Good. We played. I mean, we sisters. We gonna fight.
When you guys did fight and argue, what did you guys fight and argue about?
Stupidity. Clothes. My oldest sister was tired of our shit. Like, I told y'all, mama said wash the dishes. And it's like we didn't, you know, spickety paps go and everybody fight. But my brother was the culprit. My brother was in charge of us. So it was like my parents were working people. So my brother would be in charge in summer, but he would be gone all day. So then we would be at home and have to clean up and stuff. But the good thing is, we had regular sister fights, but I think as we get older, I think sometimes what happens is that you have expectations of people. And I'm not going to say I come from a bougie. Well, yes, I am. I'm going to say I come from a bougie background. And sometimes people that are fortunate tend to be biased or judge others. And with that, I mean, sometimes you just have to have a little empathy, right? And and if you don't possess that, and with one of my siblings, I dealt with her, and I never to this day understood if it was some type of.
And you the baby?
I'm the baby.
Okay, I was gonna ask where you at on the totem pole, but you the baby, so you.
I was spoiled,
okay.
and I'm amazing. I always tell my parents in every card I give them every holiday, from your favorite child. And I think what it was, sometimes people have a hard time just accepting who you are. And one of the things in my life I've had to deal with people is them not being okay because I accept who I am. I know I'm a hot mess in certain areas, but I know I'm amazing in others. But I learn not to judge people. I know I'm amazing when it comes to working with people. I know I'm amazing when I sing. I know I'm amazing when I'm just being Coko. But I also know I got things I got to work on. But we can't judge people. And I think sometimes women, we look at situations, and because we don't have the confidence to do it, we impose judgment on people. And I don't know, I felt like I dealt with that. And judgment maybe from my lifestyle, because I might like a drink. But what you have to also factor in is that I was a veteran.
And see, that's what I wanted to talk about as well, because, you know, with you being a black woman in the military, like, you know, that's like unheard of. You know what I'm saying? So, what was that experience like? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
So, I got married. So I met my husband in 1991. My girlfriend Sandy was babysitting my baby. And he came over and he told my friend, hey, we got to meet. We got to get with her. So we got together. He was home on leave. Just came back from Desert Storm. And I was in love, y'all. I was 19. I had never been nowhere. Well, I have, but like I was like able to get out and about on my own, right?
Yeah, that's when you left home.
Yeah, because I never had a man. Because the way my father did me, we didn't talk. But this guy was like doting over me, and I wasn't used to that. So we ended up getting married like after 6 weeks. But I was 19, y'all. So keep that in mind. And he was stupid too. So I got married, and it was terrible. I got married.
It was terrible.
I'll tell you why. Because I did it. I was in love. I never, and this is why I want to also say, love your daughters and teach your daughters their worth and tell them that they're beautiful. Don't let a man tell them. You tell them. Because at that point, you have to understand, being a teen mom and with strict parents, they were supportive, but I couldn't do nothing. My life consisted of work, school, and my trade school NEAVAC that I went to. And maybe a school dance maybe every other month. I didn't have a lot of babysitters because my parents were not retired. My sister worked and went to college. My other two siblings were in college out of state. So it was what it was. So when I finally was in that stage where my daughter was a certain age, I was like, ooh, I'm 18. I can go out and go have fun. And then when I got pregnant with Dustin, you know, it was like, damn, okay, I'm 19 with 2 kids. But I had a job as a manager at a salon. When I was 19, I met this guy. He was impressed by that because he was like, damn, you're that age and doing that? I'm in the Army. Let's get married. Let's do this. I did it. It was the worst. Well, I won't say it's the worst thing in my life. But in terms of a relationship, my ex-husband, shout out to Kirk, Jimmy Medlock, you were and still are an amazing dad. But you were not, the husband thing wasn't good. But we were young, Eladio.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
Young.
Yeah, you got a lot of growing to do at that age.
Oh, my God. Child. Okay, here's T. I got married on the 17th of May. My husband might have went back a week later. I think I cheated like a week after that. Because I was a kid. Yeah. I didn't understand. I felt terrible.
Yeah, your hormones are different. I mean, you young,
I was 19. I ain't been with no.
Loose as a goose.
I had
That's
been
what was
with
going
a couple,
on.
like 19, maybe 2 guys.
Hood rat, hoochie mama. That was
and I didn't even get to get that yet, and I didn't have experienced nothing. So when guys would show attention, baby, we ain't got the 4 hood yet, but when guys were showing me attention, because y'all got to understand, I was introverted a little bit because I had this daughter and I couldn't do a lot. So when I got out of school.
So he talked you into going to the military?
Nope. I'm going to tell you how that happened. I went with him. He came home. We got married. I ain't talking about I cheated. I went to Texas with my kids. I lived there. I was a wife. I was a military wife. I didn't work. And that was different for me. I didn't work that year. I was a stay-at-home mom. But because my husband and I were young, y'all, I went to a military base. I went to Fort Hood, Texas, in Killeen, Texas, the largest military base in America. Excuse my French, enough niggas to make a Tarzan movie. Y'all, I was 19. I lost my man. What?
Hell no.
What?
Hell no. She was
Eladio, listen.
You was flapping your motherfucking feathers.
Listen, I was a bird. I was a mess. Listen, I went to a club, and y'all, this is so funny because I can laugh about it now. True story. My ex, we found this house on this street called First Street. It was in the hood. It was terrible. The night he moved in, a gunshot went through our window.
Damn.
The next day, he had to pick me up from the bus station and explain to me, we got a bullet hole in our window. I'm like, this is where I'm going to lay my babies. But stupid young people, fine. So I get to Killeen, and it's a military base.
Oh, shit. Okay. What was that like? Shit.
Shout out to T.S. Madison. Niggas. Niggas. Bring us niggas. I had never experienced that. I was so... After I had my daughter, I put myself in a bubble. And I went as a I think I was 20 by then. Went to a military base. And y'all, this is when I was cute, young, with the bob. This the 90s, the red lipstick.
It was hooting and hollering over your ass. Huh?
What? And I didn't know how to handle that, Eladio, because I had never had it. And now I realize.
You was the original Tatiana.
That shit was hard. Me and Mary. And I'm saying this to say, this is why.
And this was on a military base.
Well, I lived off the base, but my husband he worked on base. So, needless to say, we had a lot of marital problems because here I am, we're having problems, and I met someone down there. The guy was really nice to me, but my husband was not. So it created this tension. I remember going to the store to get some food. And y'all remember, I'm 19 years old. I miss my mom. 19 or 20. I miss my parents. Back then, I could call my mom collect because I ain't had no money. So I remember put my son in the stroller. And I think my daughter was like, I'm going to stay home with dad. I'm like, fine, whatever. So me and Jaden, Dustin, my son, was gone. And I talked to my mom for like 2 hours on a phone call because I just missed my parents. That provoked the argument. And for the first time, a man hit me. I was like, okay, when you know the birds go around your head first.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know how to. I remember when I got back from that store, he said to me, I was all happy because I talked to my mom. He said, give the kids a bath. I'm like, why are you funky? He said, I'm about to beat your ass. And he did. He hit me. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm unused to that. So that just created a really weird tension. And so when a guy showed me attention that seemed like he wouldn't do that, I went for it. And
so what happened after he put his hands on you? Did you just you allowed it? Did you ask for help? Did you just suck it up? Did you fight back?
The military made us get help. So if anybody knows about the military, if you are in a domestic situation and the military have to come, they're going to probably get your chain of command involved, and they're going to tell your first sergeant and your commander and your lieutenant, and then you're going to probably have to get counseling and stuff. So they told us, okay, they moved him into the barracks, which they said, if you put your hands on your wife, man, we can't have you doing that. But for me, that was hard because I didn't have support, but he was able to live a single life. But let me tell you how the tables turn. So we ended up getting it together at some point in Texas, and everything actually worked good after we worked out our differences. When he decided that after being in 6 years, he didn't want to do it no more because my ex-husband went to Desert Storm. He went to Korea. He went to Virginia and Kansas and Fort Hood. And so he said, I'm done. So when he wanted to get out, my logical person said, okay, Tonya, you guys have health care. They give y'all money for your rent. It's a steady paycheck. I said, I want to go to the military. And my husband said, is that what you want to do? I said, yeah, I want to go. He said, for real? I said, yeah, let's do it. So I decided when he got out, I decided to go in.
Okay.
But the other reason was our families.
So when you went to the military, who watched your kids?
My parents and my husband. And our families. Everybody jumped in.
Because that's a big commitment you got to make.
Yeah,
you know
and when you're
saying?
married, when you're a single soldier, the military makes you get something in writing saying that you have a person to take your kids. When you're married, you don't have to do it. So my husband, he had the kids. My mom helped with my daughter a lot. So he would have my son, and my mother-in-law, rest in peace, Miss Medlock, love the hell out my babies. So they were good. I think what started to happen when I went, my husband head started like she might be having too much fun. Like I'm here with the kids and she in basic training and they working out and this and that. So the day that I graduated, my husband and the kids came down. I don't think my daughter came. My son came. But he was 3. And y'all, I was marching with my squad and I saw my baby jumping down when he saw me. It was just the best feeling ever. Mm-hmm. But that night we went, I guess one of my male soldiers that I knew said something to me. And that night when we were in our room, my husband slapped me because I spoke to a guy. It was at that moment that I realized you got to get out of this, get a plan. Mm-hmm. So when they went back home, I told my girlfriend, I said, I need you to check on my kids because I got to leave this nigga alone. He puts hands, I can't do it. So
did you talk to your parents about it?
No, not at first because I didn't want my mom and dad to, you know how we are. If I tell mama, they going to be on my business and talking shit.
Hell yeah, they going to fly in.
They going to fly. And so I let it go. I ain't tell my brother either. I just let it go. But, at some point I needed to be honest. And it just got to this point where I started empowering myself so it made him insecure. When I went to the military, I was looking at it like we're going to travel. We're going to have this great life for our kids. Our kids going to speak different languages. Y'all, my children they lived in Germany. Mm-hmm. My daughter could speak German. She can't now, but at some point she could.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I remember you mentioned, a couple stories about being in Germany. I had my Uncle Rick. Shout out to Uncle Rick. Love you, man. He was in Germany, and he used to send us them big beer mugs.
Yes, my sister sent us too.
Yeah, man. He used to send them to us all the time.
Baby, they got the best bratwurst. Ooh.
What was it like being in Germany? And, about a year ago, I actually did a tour around the city with an organization from Germany, and it was really dope. Hearing it. I mean, they were
from Berlin.
Yeah, Berlin. They came here to learn about CBI work, but it was very different because in Berlin they don't have guns. They're not allowed to carry guns, and here, it's very different because everybody here has got guns.
It is a
out
difference.
there. They fight with chains, knives, and bats, and fist fights and stuff like that.
But the thing is, a lot of you don't have the police with guns. And I told you, I've shared with my staff, like, I was in Germany, in Nuremberg, where there were skinheads. And you would walk down the streets, you would see skinheads. And wow. 2 things in Germany that I said, okay, I'm over here in Europe. Auschwitz, that's where they had the termination camps for Jews. That was the weirdest feeling I've ever felt in my life. Just driving.
Serious?
Baby,
wow.
What? Driving by it. Oh, I felt nauseous. And I remember me and my ex-husband got in a disagreement about Schindler's List when we went past it because we talked about what was worse, the Jewish extermination thing with them or slavery. But it's just being in this space where, first of all, I want to say that if you're from Detroit or like Chicago, or California or Compton, everybody think that you are a killer. When you come, true story. When you go to the military and you go anywhere, they will ask you kill people? Like, how many people you fuck? Like, we are known for being violent. And I've heard people say, how do you feel safer since you're not in Detroit? First of all, I had to explain, I'm not originally from Detroit. Mm-hmm. They said, but you from Michigan, you black, close enough. That's how the military looks at us, the Midwest. And it's crazy. Because a lot of times I'm thinking I ain't no fucking killer, but might as well adapt it.
I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
Right. And I remember, and I was saying I was talking to you guys and telling you about when I was going to this lingerie party with my girls. We were all dressed up. We like a broke ass Vandy 6. We going, you gonna wear red, you gonna wear black, we gonna wear white. We gonna all win. And we're walking down the street to go. I can't remember if we were trying to get to a bus, but we saw a fellow soldier fighting skinheads. Now, my first inclination was, You know, in the military, you mess up, you get an Article 15. That fuck with your money and your rank, and they make you do extra duty and all that shit. Then I thought about it. I said, but that's a brother from North Carolina. I can't let them. I was like, y'all, we all green. In the military, that's what our thing was. We gonna help them. So we all started fighting.
Damn.
We had to.
You guys was fighting with dudes?
Yeah. Windmill kicking. We're looking like a broke-ass Vanity 6. And I still won the contest. But the point was, these were the challenges in Germany.
Yeah.
Being in these situations where...
Did they not have black people out there?
Most of us were on base. But here's the crazy thing.
What about black Germans? Did they have black Germans out there?
I don't remember meeting a lot of them, but I do know that. So the state military establishments and the overseas ones are kind of set up differently.
Okay.
And when it could have changed. Now, I was in the military in the 90s. So when I was in Germany, there was a thing called, like, if they would have a whole apartment complex where all Americans lived.
Okay.
It would be called living on the economy. But let me tell you something, Eladio. You couldn't pay me to do that now.
Why?
Terrorism.
Yeah.
That was my biggest fear when I was in the Army. So the military would have this plane where you could fly home for free. Or I used to say $10, but I never paid for it. So if you're overseas and you got a family, we all know that's going to cost you a grip if you go on a commercial airline. So the military, because they have to transport all of us all over the country and just the world, we go on the Detroit Metro, you can get on the plane. We got to stop there and pick up somebody. So that's how they worked. My concern always was, and 9/11 confirmed it, every time I got on that fucking plane, if it was a commercial, if it was a military plane, I was horrified of being on board with terrorists.
Damn, for
that
real?
That was my fear.
So you mentioned that you were a rifleman, right?
Yes.
Or would it be riflewoman?
So
or
rifle person.
Person.
Now today, rifle person.
Okay.
When I was in the military,
sharpshooter type shit.
I was a sharpshooter with the M60, and with the M16 A1, I was an expert.
Wow.
But
so
let me tell you though, I was scared of guns before I went to the military. When I was in basic training, I barely almost made it out of basic training because I couldn't shoot because I was scared of the gun.
And how do you feel about guns now?
Responsible people should own them. Because I work in community violence intervention, I do think you need to be responsible, but I do support the right to bear arms. I believe when you are mistreating or misusing something to protect yourself. I mean, here's the thing. I'm a child of the 70s. We used to fight. If you say something to somebody now and they know they can't fight, they gonna shoot you. And then half of them so pussy. Can I say that on here? They can't shoot. The military used to tell us to maim. Fuck that. I'm shooting you in the head. You not getting up. Because I'm going home to my family.
Yeah.
That was my thing.
And, that was the thing about, like, me being a gang member and the military, because I felt like we had too much in common than not. But it was just, they did the same shit we were doing. Not to say that we were right or that anyone was right, but they were deemed heroes and we were deemed criminals. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but Eladio, I often say we get along because we have the same mentality because we understand the order and all that. It's just like you said. Was we not? Because let me remind people. We did terrible shit to people in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Those Americans did terrible stuff to villages, children, women,
men, women, and children.
So we're not gonna pretend.
But you're applauded by society as a
for
hero.
Being heroes.
You know what I'm saying? But when we were doing things we were done, and you know what I'm saying, people got hurt. Men, women, children, people were involved in shootings. And
you guys were savages, and we were heroes.
And it was just like, damn, what's the difference between, because ultimately it comes down to, morality. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it okay to do it over there but not over here?
Well, I shared.
And not to say that it's okay at all.
It's not,
because I'm a humanitarian and I feel
But you got to look out for yourself. I share it with my team, and I've shared this story several times. They make you qualify at a range when you're in the military because they want to know your level so that they know how to place you. when you are in the field or you are, out in war. When I was in basic training, I was scared of guns, and I couldn't qualify. And I almost didn't make it out of basic training. But when I got into AIT, and that's when they teach you your trade, and it's a little less stressful. Baby, something happened. I went from, I think it was like you had 40. I think I went like a marksman, just basically doing the minimum, to 38 out of 40. And first,
wow.
my and I think my drill sergeant then was from Marquette, Michigan. And
wow.
because I was from Michigan, he was on my team. And I don't know if his encouragement, but I was able to do it. So then when I went to Germany, and that's when I had to qualify on the M60, which is a machine gun. And I was a machine gunner for reconnaissance, security, occupy, and position.
Okay.
Yeah. I know it sounds so
bet
bad.
You can't say that 3 times in a row.
I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I have a picture of me with my machine gun. And let me tell y'all why it's bad to me. And I'm not advocating the use of it. But my daughter, who was, I think, 8 at the time, she said she saw her mom like that and was like, that's my mom. My mom doing this? And she said, I don't see the gun. I see my mom doing her job, serving her country. And that made me feel good.
We definitely want to send our prayers and condolences to Officer Saeed that was just killed in Melvindale, Michigan. He was 1 year on the force, just graduated from Melvindale High School.
Wow.
And he was, murdered. And,
how old was he? About 19?
I don't know. Probably about 19 years old, 21.
Let me say this. This is my one issue with the military. When you're 18 years old, you're not there up here yet. And I saw a lot of 18-year-olds make decisions. I saw a lot of girls get pregnant. I saw a lot of young men make decisions that got them put out. So I've always thought that the military should maybe up that to 21. And I think I feel the same way about the police officers. And I say this because, and please people understand the mind frame at the time. I'm a mother with 2 children in the military, and I want to live. When I was doing RSOP and we were talking about going overseas to Iraq, I was told by my first sergeant and my command that, Medlock, you are a woman. And you have children. So that means you have a nurturing spirit and you got that mama thing.
Yep.
They said, but Medlock, you're the sharpshooter. You're the one who can do it. We're putting you on security because you can shoot. But I need you to understand. You might see a child. You might see an elderly person. You might see somebody with a disability. We need you to realize that's a setup. Basically, I was told if I want to go home, I need to do what I need to do. You know what kind of trauma that is?
I can't imagine.
Thank God I didn't have to. But that's what I was basically told.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you this earlier. These police officers that shoot first. There was an incident that happened this weekend with a woman in Chicago calling the police because she had an intruder, and the police officer shot her by accident. We have to start getting people who are not terrified of perpetrators or those people that they don't understand, and let's just say it, people of color or a different socioeconomic status that we're used to, because these people who don't understand or these people who don't have conversations, I can't imagine someone who don't going somewhere like the Army where they give you open reign to kill people. I'm pretty sure it's a bunch of people that there's some unexplained deaths.
You become the most inhumane. You get indoctrinated and you get, they create you to be what they need you to be to survive, to to serve the country
Yep.
and to serve the purpose. And, that's what I was saying, that, I didn't see no difference between me being an active gang member in the streets and somebody being active in service, because, we were all indoctrinated. You know what I'm saying?
It's the same thing, just a
and
different
it was
organization.
All kill or be killed. Live for today because tomorrow's not promised.
Yep.
Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Yep.
It's the same mindset. The only thing is it's okay to do it here and it's not okay to do it over here.
Yep.
So I started realizing that how much of our society was created by man and their ideas. Before I went to prison, weed was illegal. You would go to jail. My house got raided. I went to jail. My mom went to jail over weed. Then I come home, and now there's dispensaries on every corner. So who is to say and set the standard for what is morally okay for our society? You know what I'm saying? Back then, we can go to Canada at 19 years old and drink. But if you come over here at 21, so it was like, who sets that standard?
Same thing in a different country.
Not okay, And, even when it comes to the Bible and the Quran, like when I was in the joint, had a lot of time on my hands. I wanted to explore and study and understand people. And, I just, anything that has been altered by man alters the truth of things. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to base my life on something that is not all there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Something
Interpretation.
that has been altered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just take what you can, what good for you, what applies to you. You know what I'm saying? Because, it's just we are all being indoctrinated in one form or another.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I've had this conversation with many people, and I do feel like we were in a gang in the Army, because our color was green. And I remember that fight. I remember feeling like, if they want to give me an Article 15, I'm going to take it because I'm going to let this. And that's how when we would go out, we had the same mentality as y'all. Mm-hmm. Baby, girls in L.A. and Compton showed me how to sneak razor blades in the club in my tongue.
Damn.
Yeah, This was a time, people. It was the 90s. I was young and ignorant. But this is where we were. And so I'm grown now, and I know a lot of the stuff we did was stupid. But my military years were very formative for me because it put me in a position where I knew later on I was going to be okay. Even though my marriage didn't work, because me and my husband, when he finally got over there, it didn't work. So it was time to recalibrate. So when I came back to the States, I worked at Comerica for 4 years. And then I worked at GM, and this is in the early 2000s, y'all.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you what you did after you left the military. And
I worked at Comerica. I worked in
Comerica Bank or Comerica
Comerica
Park?
Bank.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I worked there for 4 years. I did customer service.
What made you want to go there?
My best friend said, "Bitch, you need a job." And she told me where to go. And so Comerica used to have their own temp service. It wasn't down. I think it was on West Grand, but this was years ago, y'all, in the 90s. And I went there, and they took me. And I went in there as a temp, and then I got hired in. And then, interesting story about this is the Coko butterfly story. So when I was in the Army, I partied. Partied a lot.
It's like going to college.
Yeah, that's my college. That's my early college experience. So I was on a base. It was an air artillery base, and I was a support unit. And what I learned is that there's politics in everywhere, and there's politics in the military. So since I was a support unit, I didn't get the same support as the 16 Bravos that were the Patriot, the missile launchers, right? So we worked a lot when I was in the military. We worked all the time, military mechanics. If they need a vehicle for the morning, you got to work all night. It's called a deadline. You got to do it. So a lot of times we drank a lot. And we would get alcohol related incidents. It was.
Do you remember the story of Vanessa Guillen? Mm-hmm. It was just recent. in recent years.
Her story is
And-
as many stories. Hers just was brought to the forefront.
And it just absolutely breaks my heart to know that this young woman went to the military to build a future for herself, and instead, you know what I'm saying, was violated and murdered by her own kind, her own people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how, who was held accountable, how something so malicious can happen where you can absolutely kill and dismember somebody. You know what I'm saying? A woman who, young lady who's just there to serve her country and build a future for herself. We have a portrait. We have a huge portrait of her in the community, and every time I pass by there, it just breaks my heart, you know what I'm saying, to be like, you are supposed to be in a space where you're supposed to be learning and growing and contributing and building, and then the very people who's supposed to protect you and teach you are the ones who kill you, you know what I'm saying?
Well, so here's the thing. When I was overseas, I was in Germany, and you got to remember, guys, the military is male-dominated. Back then, it was very male-dominated. So when sisters of color, and this is just not black girls, I'm talking just sisters in general, just women from America, and you're in different countries. When you would get around guys, it was like, oh my God, it's somebody from home. So a lot of times we would be put in situations where you did the buddy system, right? So if my girl gonna go, because the thing about when I was overseas in Germany, everything you wanted to do might be an hour to 3 hours away. So if you want to go to Nuremberg, that's an hour and a half away. You want to go to Frankfurt, that might be about 4 hours away. So you don't want to go by yourself. You got to take one of your homegirls, because you just don't want to go and be, because of what happened to her. I'm not going to get into my situation because I'm still working through it, but I'll just say y'all need to be aware that military sexual trauma exists. It's called MST. A lot of women have dealt with it. That's what happens. The military, and I'm going to say it, now they're starting to honor it, and they're listening to us more. As a veteran that has experienced it, I wish that somebody just would have listened. That woman did not deserve that. And for the military not to, I just feel they could have did more. But I feel like because of what happened to her, now they're trying to do the right thing. But they should have listened. They should have paid attention, because that was not.
No.
That was that makes me, and I just had to kind of, because that's triggering.
Oh,
but,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but,
anybody who's a humanitarian, but more so somebody who was in the military and experienced, any type of violation or anything like that, is very unfortunate.
The military is trying to write it.
That violence, hate, discrimination has no boundaries. It does not discriminate. It is everywhere. The same way love is everywhere. Hate is everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know what's crazy? Have you ever looked at something online, like a news article, and it might say something like teenager, African-American teenager, or just something about something somebody did bad. And if you look in the comments and see all the racial, the way that people just are terrible people. And this is the world we live in. But, I am grateful that I went through all the bullshit. Germany was great. My adult life was great. At some point, I left the army, the bank. I ended up working at GM, lost that job. When I lost that job, I ended up going to a welfare to work program because the bitch was broke and I needed some money until my unemployment came. And that is what started Tonya Medlock, the case manager. So
that's right.
That's
right.
And let me tell you something, to anyone that wants to do work, when you work with people, empathy is the key. This is how I got into this business. When I was a participant of Work First, someone decided that I was smart enough to go to a program where they can teach me to be executive assistant. Okay, girls, okay. But anyway, I'm in this program, and I'm going to this program every day. I meet this young lady that is in my program too, and she has some barriers. And at this point, my kids are a little older, and I have some support. I got my parents and my boyfriend at the time. This young lady that I was kind of befriended, she didn't. She was just going through it. And I would listen, and I could hear the case managers talking about she has a smell on her, or she's this, or she's that. It was just like, why the fuck are y'all doing this? And I remember them saying, when I talked to her, she got an attitude. One day I couldn't take it, and I said to the case managers, are you aware that her lights were cut off? Are you aware that CPS showed up at her door? That's why she has an attitude. Oh, she has a smell because her water was cut off. And so I remember them telling my case manager that I was crazy. And my case manager said, no, she's not. She's just aware. So after I would do that, they started watching me. And there was a lady named Audrey. And Audrey, I don't know if you're still in the land of the living, but I just want to say thank you, because that woman saw something in me, and she made sure that I made it through that program I was in. She would make sure that I made it. She said, because you are not your situation. And that woman just made sure she looked out for me. And she suggested to the welfare to work program I was in that they hire me.
Wow, that's dope.
I started being case management, job development. Here I am. And I think that was a great pick for me, because I've been through a lot. Teen mom. I was in an abusive relationship. I've been through a lot. And I remember my customers saying things like, well, you don't understand. And this is why it's important to meet people where they're at. And I used to have this saying, if you don't know where I've been, you don't know where I'm coming from. I would tell my clients, you don't have these problems. And I would say, I'm a teen mom. I got this, I got this, I got that. But I said, that it's not going to define you. I would probably say I've serviced over thousands of women. And when I see them now still in the community, when I'm out and about and they tell me how I changed their lives, it's always impactful to me. And even now, with the work I do, I went from case management to a director position. It was rough, but I realized the biggest lesson I learned from that is being told to meet people where they were. Because I'm military. Yeah. I'm you got to be here this time. Best decision I ever made.
But you have to be strong enough to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because people who have been there sometimes haven't built up enough strength to go back there and be able to get back home. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people go back and then they get sucked up by that shit again, because that is strong. You know, that energy is strong. You know what I mean? Just like positivity is strong, negativity is strong. Yeah.
And there's more forces around negativity.
And you know, you just fall into that whole trauma thing, and you become a victim all over again.
And I want to say this, because I know we're dwindling down. And I'm going to say, in the last 4 years, I went from being in this great relationship, I had a breakup that took me to heights I never thought I would go to. When I went through that, I was a case manager, had just got my bachelor's. Then I ended up a year later getting my master's. And then it's like, I thought my life was going to end. Like when I had this breakup, I was a mess. And that partly made me think about the way that I view people, because I ain't perfect. And I had to do a lot. And I had a lot of self-reflection. But that let me kind of adjust my way of thinking, because you don't know where people at, and you don't know what they're going through, so you got to meet them where they at. Yeah,
from one day to the next, that can change. You know, like they say, you can see people. I was just with that person laughing, and like everything was good, and then the next day,
I was there. I wanted to unalive myself. I wanted to unalive people. I went, baby, but I realized that you are not your situation. So from being a teen mom, abused, just trying to raise kids on my own, trying to make it through college, all these career changes, I'm here.
That's right.
I'm here.
That's right.
And I'm still learning. I'm doing it because I want other people to have the experience and the support that I had. One thing I will say about where I work now, we offer some of the best support that you will ever receive, from a staff. And when I say that, I mean that because we really, really tap into our people. So this took years to get to where I'm at. And there's still more, but if it's surface, all of my experience molded me to who I am.
The good thing is that you got there, because it's people our age and older who still ain't figured this shit out.
Yeah.
And they still living
we
in
deal
that
with them
vicious
every
cycle.
day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're stewards, and we need to show them that you are not your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a sheltered workforce that we have, and we work with individuals that are basically, from the neighborhood, and we're trying to help them get on the right path. And everybody has an individual story. But what I learned about that was, how can I impose judgment on you when I was that age, or when I was trying to get through my situation, I was in the same. And I think a lot of people and I always tell y'all, had that pull yourself up by the bootstraps mentality.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have damn boots. So we got to quit doing that. It took me years because of my upbringing, because I was around people that could do it. I had to learn that everybody don't have the same resources. Because at some point in my life, when my parents were not there for me, I didn't, baby, I didn't know what a food stamp was, but baby, when I found out, I was like, thank you, hallelujah. Okay? I didn't know what ADC was until I had to find out, but when I did, hallelujah. And I'm saying that because
hell yeah, that's
some people don't understand. Some people, that's how they live. And some people have to do what they got to do. So if I can impose any words of wisdom, let's stop putting judgment on people. Let's start being empathetic and understand that everybody has a different path. Man.
Listen, August 9th, we'll be having a Stop the Violence event at 1211 Trumbull at the DHDC. Please come through, show up, show out. We'll have vendors there. We're going to have performers there. We're going to be celebrating. All are welcome. Don't matter where you from. Come on through. Come celebrate. Wear some of your loved ones, your lost loved ones, their shirts. Come bring some candles. Let's celebrate, you know what I'm saying, our lives. Let's celebrate the lives of others. You know what I'm saying? September 21st in Southgate at the Team Wellness Center, we're going to be having another Downriver Expungement Fair. Definitely looking forward to it. We're partnering with Chase Bank. Shout out to Chase Bank. Shout out to Peter Shear, Gail Taylor, Denise Steele, and, you know, their whole staff, man. Much love to you guys. Shout out to Danny Harani from Team Wellness. So we're going to be having another one. We just did one last month at Ecorse High School, and now we're going to be doing it in Southgate. You know, we're looking for a good turnout. So you'll be seeing our flyers and our posters throughout the whole Downriver community. Mm-hmm. So definitely come through, and we're going to be working on another Road to Restoration event as well. So, you know, we're doing everything that we can to help change lives and enhance the quality of life for the people in, you know, Detroit and, you know, in our Downriver communities as well.
Just let them know that you do not have to be downriver to attend. This is open up to all of Michigan. Yeah. And if you have any questions or concerns about any expungements, you can always go on to State of Michigan Expungements, and it'll bring it right up with all the different times. But we hope to see you guys there. Is that all the things we got going on? We have a sheltered workforce, and life skills. So if you feel like you need to get some employment, some resumes, please, 313-967-4880. Detroit Aesthetic Development Corporation.
That's right. Come see us. We got our tattoo removal program over there. You know, we got a little bit of everything. We got wraparound services. You can bring your kids. They can sign up for programs. We got the Inception. We got life skills. You know, we got a lot going on. So come see us at 1211 Trumbull. But if nothing else, make sure you come through on August 9th for the Stop the Violence event so that we can unite the community. And again, Southgate Team Wellness Center, September 21st. Come through, and you know, much love to you guys, man. You know, and we'll see you next Monday. Thank you, Coko, for showing up and showing out.
Thank you for having me. I had a good time.
Much love to you.
Telling my business out here in these streets.
Yeah, shout out to my man Brian Ruiz with Legal Aliens Podcast. My boys be taking care of their business. You guys stay up, man. Be safe.